Assalamu alaikum, hello and welcome back to day 3 of my tour. I hope you enjoyed the videos for day 1 and 2 of my tour. Day 3 started in Kiwai, where I continued to ride along the N15, rode through the small towns of Kowardo and Naran, went up the Babusar mountain pass, connected back onto the Karakorum highway and then rode to the ASTORE MORR junction where I stayed the night. Kiwai is a small village located on the National Highway 15. This is a stopover for tourists either going further up north like we are doing, or turning off from the highway to get onto a deep track road from Kiwai to go to the various mountain resorts in the area, with one such being Shigar, which is the hill station on a plateau at a height of 2,362 metres. I was surprised to learn that a lot of the workers in the hotel, shops and restaurants on the roadside do not stay overnight by the roadside, but they walk up the mountains to their homes in the evening and then come back down again in the morning. It was raining last night, so we had taken the luggage off from our motorbikes, and so day 3 started in Kiwai with us strapping the luggage back on the motorbikes. This is the hotel we stayed at last night. It was a nice hotel and cost about £7 for the 3 of us to stay the night. Because it was off season time being between June and September, and with it now being the end of September coming into October, the hotel did not have any staff to make us breakfast. All the local shops and restaurants were closed, and so we had to start the day without breakfast and then ride on until later on in the day when the shops and restaurants would open before we could have any breakfast. All along this road I saw a lot of shepherds herding a flock of sheep and goats as they were heading down south. They do this because in about a month's time in November these roads will become impassable due to snow, and so they head south with their flock to a warmer climate. The scenery along this part of the highway is lovely and refreshing, and because we started off early in the morning there is hardly any traffic on the road. The further you ride up north the more beautiful the scenery is. This is the first time I have ridden on these kind of roads, as I am used to riding on normal flat surfaces in the UK. You have to be extremely careful when riding along these roads, as you have the risk of landslide on the one side, potholes or rocks in the road itself, and a cliff drop on the other side. I was told that the reason for these steel structured bridges in these regions is because whenever there's landslide or a flood and a bridge gets destroyed, it is easier to replace the bridge, and they always have an extra bridge nearby. The aim for today was to get as close as we could to a turning point on a Karakorum highway known as the ASTORE MORR junction in GILGIT-BALTISTAN, which is about 141 miles away. The road that leads off the Karakorum highway at the ASTORE MORR junction will take us to the city of Skardu via the Deosai National Park. It will be a long and hard ride because in addition to riding 141 miles, we will also be going up the mountain pass and ascending to over 4,000 metres. This N15 road will take us to the small tourist towns of Kowardo and Naran, past the Lulusar lake, up the mountain pass and then connects us back onto the Karakorum highway. We had been riding for an hour now without breakfast, and so we decided to stop off at a roadside village called Mansehra, where we noticed that the local restaurants were starting to open and serve breakfast. I ordered some egg burrata and tea. This is what I had for breakfast every day throughout the tour, as it was easy to order, quick to serve and safe to eat. Beautiful trip so far, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, a much anticipated trip, yeah?
Yeah. The highway after Mahandu towards Naran was not as smooth to ride on as it was previously, as there were a lot of potholes and uneven surfaces. I believe that this is because of the continuous occurrences of landslide. You just cannot beat the views here. I'm riding between two mountains next to the river Kunhar with the most unbelievable landscape up ahead. Just before the town of Naran, there is a new water dam under construction which is known as the Suki Kanari Hydro Water Power Project. It is hoped that the construction of the dam will be completed in November 2024. We finally got to the small town of Naran, which is in the distance there. Most tourists that travel up north from the south come as far as this small town. There is a famous mountainous lake known as Staple Muluk, which sits at an elevation of 3,224 metres, which is what a lot of people come to see. To get there though, you must go via a jeep track for about an hour from Naran. I will not be going there on this trip as I will be going further up north, but maybe next time I'll add it to my itinerary. We were told that the weather further up north on the mountain pass was raining and snowing, and so we decided to buy some plastic sheets to cover the luggage on the motorbikes just in case it rains. We have left Naran now. Just on the outskirts of Naran to the north there are various water sporting activities along the river Kunhar, such as canoeing and water rafting. Also, just on the outskirts of Naran to the north, there is a waterfall known as Kiwai Waterfall on the side of the road. I decided to stop here to get some drone footage. As we left Kiwai Waterfall, it started to rain, and so we stopped off on the roadside to put on our waterproofs. I was hoping that would not rain or snow on the mountain pass, as that pass is dangerous enough as it is without rain. There are always reports of accidents and deaths on that mountain pass. We are now at about 2,600 metres. The peak of the pass is over 4,000 metres, and so we still had a long way to go. We stopped off here on the roadside to give the bikes and ourselves a bit of a rest. The views here are absolutely stunning. The local kids had come up to us to welcome us, and we gave them a little gift. Just before the final ascent up the mountain pass, there is a restaurant called Moon Restaurant in Bisal. We stopped off at this restaurant to freshen up and also to have a light lunch. This restaurant is normally busy during the peak season, but it is fairly quiet now. We had their specialty dish of lobia, which is black-eyed peas curry with naan, and it did go down a treat as I was really hungry and it was cold and raining. We are now back on the N15 and coming up to the Lulusar Lake, which is the primary headwaters of the Kunhar River. It is situated at an elevation of 3,410 metres. The views of this lake when the sun is shining are stunning. We are fairly high now as we are nearing the snow-capped peaks of the mountains, and the views here are absolutely lovely. That said though, riding on these roads is not for the faint-hearted, as there are a lot of hairpin bends and you must be on full alert at all times. We have finally made it to the start of the Babusar mountain pass. I did do some reading up on this before I came, and it is a dangerous road for the inexperienced rider or driver. Just 3 weeks ago, a van had plunged into the ditch near the top of the pass, killing all 8 passengers. We were all from the same family. The most common reason for accidents on this pass is brake failure of vehicles due to the inexperience of drivers or riders. Although it is a dangerous mountain pass, the views are truly breathtaking. This pass closes between October and June because of the snowfall and the time it takes for the authorities to clear the snowfall. There is an army checkpoint just at the start of the peak of the road pass, and we had to register our bikes and give our identification details to the army personnel. We are now at an elevation of 4,173 metres. The ride up the mountain was not that bad actually, but we are now descending on the other side of the mountain pass, which required a lot more riding skills as there were a lot more hairpin bends as seen from the drone footage. I just cannot believe how beautiful this place is. The views just keep giving, and the further you ride up north the more spectacular the views. We were advised that this area is not that safe, as a couple of months before we were here there was someone that was unalived on a mountain pass in a failed robbery attempt. The advice the army gave us was to not be on a mountain pass after sunset, but to go either to the town of Challam or go further up north like we are doing. That should not put you off though, as no matter where you are in the world there will always be criminals. There was a massive landslide here and they have carved out the road again. It is scary knowing that a landslide can occur at any time. When we got midway down the mountain, I had made a stop so I could get a drone footage of where the hairpin bends had come to an end, as the views on this side of the mountain were also magnificent. Some of the locals had come to join us for their drone shots. Just as we started to reach 1,000 meters in elevation on our way down, the change in the temperature was very noticeable, and so we decided to take off some of the additional warm clothing that we had put on before we ascended the mountain pass from the other side. We have finally reached the area called 0 Point, just on the outskirts of Challam, and which is at the entry point of the Babusar mountain pass. There is also an army checkpoint here. We decided not to stay in Challam but carry on riding and get as close as we could to the ASTORE MORR junction, as that would help us with our onward journeys the next day. We are now back on the Karakorum highway, which we had turned off at Mansehra to take the Babusar mountain pass. The scenery here just keeps giving. We are riding along the mighty Indus River. The Indus River is amongst the longest rivers in the world, and it is about 1,900 miles long. It starts in the Himalayas in the Tibet region of China, cuts through the whole of Pakistan and empties into the Arabian Sea. The roads here are really good and smooth to ride on. It was starting to get dark, and I did get that feeling that both Ahmed Ali and Osman were going to carry on riding through the dark until we got to the ASTORE MORR junction. And just as I had thought, we are riding through the dark. This place is really dangerous, as a slight mistake I could end up on the side of the mountain or off the cliff and down into the river Indus. I could barely see now. We did manage to find a hotel on the Karakorum highway called the Nanga Parbat Viewpoint. We did not really have much choice in a hotel as it was dark and late, and this was the only one that we found near the ASTORE MORR junction, which we had actually ridden past to get to. The staff at the hotel were lovely, as was the food, but the rooms were a bit dismal. It was a very basic room where you can tell the bed sheets had not been changed, and although there was a wash basin in the bathroom, there was no tap or drainage. I did have a go at my lefties for making me stay here, but after a long and arduous ride, all I wanted to do was put my head down anywhere for the night. That is the end of day 3. Watch day 4 where I had one of the best views you could get from a hotel.